This is book number 5. Phoebe and the Baby Dolphin. And this book is for Phoebe and her Yee. Phoebe could hardly hear herself think. She was staying with her Paw Paw and Gung Gung, and as usual it was chaotic. There were people everywhere, and they all seemed to be talking at once. The reason for all the people and all the noise is that it was her Yee Yee's birthday, and friends and family had got together for a party. As usual, Phoebe had her gang with her. Puss, who was always smiling, Rabbit, with her little tutu, and of course Foxy with his red coat and big bushy tail. Together they were called Fog, Phoebe's gang. And as usual, Phoebe had her little red trike with her. She was well known wherever she went for riding around at top speed. People were used to flattening themselves against the wall as she passed at full tilt, although she always remembered to smile and say thank you. To escape the hubbub for a while, she decided to ride around the garden and see if there were any adventures to be had. As they were passing the little summer house, Puss said, "What's Yee Yee doing sitting in there on her own?" "Hi, Yee Yee," said Phoebe. "Why aren't you in the party with everyone else?" "Oh, hi, Phoebes," said Yee Yee, and then went on to explain, "I'm just feeling a little sad at the moment. I saw a programme on the TV about a little dolphin who'd been caught by some nasty people and put in an aquarium. He was very frightened and lonely, and his mummy was very sad." Phoebe could feel her eyes getting very prickly, but she was determined not to cry. Even Puss looked sad, which was very unusual. "Surely we can do something," said Rabbit. "We've got to help that little dolphin get back to his mummy." Even Foxy, who was usually the one to get Fog into all sorts of adventures, was a little uncertain. "Well," he said hesitantly, "we certainly need to try, but it'll be very difficult." Then he looked again at how sad Yee Yee was and said, "But we've not given up on a challenge yet, and we're not going to start now." With that, the 4 friends climbed onto the little red trike. "Are we all holding tight?" said Foxy. "We certainly are," chorused the friends. "OK," said Foxy with a big wink. "Pedal away, Phoebes," he commanded, and Phoebe started pedalling round and round the garden. "What are you all doing?" said Yee Yee. "You're making me quite dizzy." But then she gave a huge yawn and fell fast asleep. Phoebe kept pedalling, and soon all the trees and bushes in the garden became a blur. Up and up they flew. They could see the coast far below them, and Puss said, "Look, there's Chesil Beach and Portland." But almost before the others had a chance to look, Portland, and indeed England, had faded into the distance. Higher and higher, faster and faster they flew. Suddenly Rabbit said, "Did anyone bring anything to eat? I'm starving, and this looks like it will be a long journey." The others all nodded and realised that their tummies were all rumbling. "Don't worry," said Phoebe with a smile. "I've got loads in my little bag." "Anyway," she continued, "Paw Paw always cooks so much food, she'll never notice that some is missing." Soon they were all tucking into all sorts of tasty little nibbles from Phoebe's seemingly bottomless bag. Just as they were all feeling rather full, Foxy said, "OK, Fog, we're nearly there." "Where's there?" said Puss. "Here," said Foxy with a grin, before adding, "It's called Florida, in case you were wondering." "Wow," said Phoebe. "It looks amazing. Look at all those little islands." "We'll come again," said Foxy, but then he added a bit more sternly, "But now we've got a job to do." The four friends remembered why they had come all this way, and each of them became a little quiet for a while as they thought about how they could save the little dolphin. "This is going to be a bit tricky," said Foxy, but then he added, "But since I'm a fox, I've got quite a few tricks up my sleeve." The others all looked at Foxy and thought to themselves, "But Foxy doesn't have any sleeves." "Now listen carefully," said Foxy in his most important voice. "We're going to have to be very quiet and very stealthy if we're going to succeed." Then he added, "Let's go in and have a look." The Sea Life Centre was right next to the ocean, which somehow made it even worse for the little dolphin. If he jumped out of the water high enough, he could just see the sea and the freedom he was missing. Sometimes, when all the crowds had gone home, he thought he could just make out the faint sounds of a squeak in the distance, and that made him even sadder because it sounded almost like his mummy was calling to him. Meanwhile, Phoebe and the rest of Fog had landed, and to all the crowds of sightseers she looked just like any other little girl on a trike. Said Foxy. Said Puss with a grin. Foxy said, "This isn't going to be easy as there are too many guards around. We'll have to find a way to distract them." "Don't worry," said Puss with a bigger grin than usual. "I have a cunning plan." He whispered to the gang and explained his plan. He had noticed that there was a channel which enabled fresh seawater to come into the main pool where the little dolphin and some sad-looking orcas had to do their tricks. "We have to distract the guards," he explained, "and while they're not looking, we have to unbolt the gates so the little dolphin and his orca friends can swim out." As they had been talking, the seats had begun to fill for the next show. "Right, it's now or never," said Foxy, and with that Phoebe pedalled her trike to the front. No one took any notice of the little girl on her trike, although she seemed to be very close to the edge. "Hey you, buddy," yelled one of the guards. "Step away from the edge." Then he saw that Phoebe was crying. "Hey, what's up, little girl?" he said. My rabbit is in the water," she sobbed. "Not to worry," said the guard, and scooped a very wet rabbit out the water. "Thank you," said Phoebe in her sweetest voice. Then she whispered to Rabbit so no one could hear, "Did you manage to talk to them?" "Yes," said Rabbit. "They know exactly what to do." "Wow," said Phoebe. "Who would have thought that besides ballet, you can also speak in whale and dolphin?" But before they could discuss any further, some loud music heralded the start of the show. "Ready, Puss?" said Foxy. "Ready," said Puss. "Ready, Rabbit?" said Foxy. "Roger," said Rabbit. "Phoebes and trike ready," said Phoebe, who was feeling a little nervous but also excited. "OK, Fogs away," shouted Foxy above the music. And with that, Puss started running around the edge of the pool. At first, no one took any notice of a funny green cat. But when Puss suddenly snatched a big fish from right under the nose of one of the guards, everyone started shouting. "Stop that cat!" they yelled, and "Come back with the fish!" Puss was having great fun, dodging in and out, even right through the legs of the shouting men. Everyone was looking at Puss, and no one saw Rabbit taking her second bath in one day. Phoebe was holding Rabbit by her ears, and Rabbit was kicking frantically at the bolts which held the gates to the ocean firmly shut. "Hurry up, Rabbit," said Foxy. "They're gaining on Puss." Just then, one of the guards spotted Phoebe. "Hey, what are you doing? Stop right now!" he shouted. Suddenly the final bolt slid across and the gate swung open. Rabbit gave a series of clicks and squeaks, and with one final leap, the two orcas and the little dolphin dived right to the bottom of the pool and through the tunnel to the ocean. "Right," said Foxy, "let's get out of here." With a big heave, Phoebe pulled a very bedraggled rabbit from the water. Her ears were very wet, and water from her tutu was dripping down her legs. "Quick," said Foxy, "we've got to go and rescue Puss. They're nearly catching him." Foxy and Rabbit clung on, and Phoebe pedalled for all she was worth. They could see the guards gaining on Puss, but the little red trike seemed to know exactly what to do. At times it seemed as if they were flying over the pool, and at other times it seemed as if they deliberately swerved at the guards to trip them up. The crowd had not noticed that the little dolphin and his orca friends had gone. They were watching the little girl with her pet fox and a funny rabbit in a tutu chasing the guards who were chasing a funny green cat with a big fish. They all thought it was part of the entertainment and were all laughing and pointing. Round and round the pool ran Puss, and then with one final burst of speed, the three members of Fog reached out and grabbed him. But this time they were going so fast that the guards became very tired and very dizzy. Suddenly, it seemed as if the little girl with her little red trike and her funny friends had just disappeared. The guards looked everywhere, in the bushes, under the seats, and even in the pool. But then a funny thing happened. The crowd were all cheering and clapping and standing up. At first, the guards didn't know what to do, but then they stood on the side of the pool all together and bowed as if it had all been planned. Meanwhile, Fog were far away, skimming over the top of the waves. "Look," said Phoebe excitedly. "There they are, over there." And there they all were. The two orcas were swimming so happily they jumped into the air and landed with a huge splash. And just behind them was the little dolphin, swimming very happily and very closely with his mummy. They both looked so happy, and although she knew that dolphins can't cry, Phoebe was certain she saw a tear in the mummy's eye. "We must be going," said Phoebe. "My mummy and daddy will be wondering where I am." With that, the two dolphins and the two orcas gave big waves with their tail fins. They were still waving as Phoebe and her friends sped away into the distance. Soon they could see the English coast. First they could see the beach, and then suddenly they were swooping down into Paw Paw and Gung Gung's garden. Just then Yee came rushing out. "I'm so happy," she exclaimed excitedly. "The baby dolphin has escaped together with some of his friends." She danced around the garden shouting, "This is the best birthday present ever." They all bundled indoors and found everyone looking at the news. Phoebe didn't really understand everything that was said, but it seemed that someone had not secured some gates properly at one of the big ocean parks, and that some animals had escaped, including a baby dolphin who'd been separated from his mummy. "Isn't it brilliant?" said Yee. "I was so sad, but then I think I must have fallen asleep, and then the next thing I know is that he's free. By the way," she continued, "what were you all doing, riding round and round the garden? You made me quite dizzy and very sleepy." Phoebe and the rest of Fog just smiled at each other. "Nothing much," said Phoebe, "but we're glad you're not sad anymore." "Happy birthday, Yee," they chorused. The end. And that book was for Phoebe, and of course her Yee, who loves dolphins. Bye bye.